I will give to YouTube, then we will start within 1 minute. Okay?
Okay.
Welcome all of you. As you are knowing that this is webinar series, world record webinar series, and we are today invited the guest. एक second. Dr. Susmita Sarkar Madam, who is assistant professor from Jyoti Nivas College Autonomous, Bangalore, and she will speak on women empowerment toward the rural development. From all the participants, I welcome Madam to you, and all the participants, those who are joined here, I welcome to all of you. You now start your speech. I will share the PPT. Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone for the part of this webinar World Series 2. I'm Dr. Susmita. I want to start a topic which is very already discussed everywhere, as the rural development. If we can see about the rural women in India, for the national development, or we can talk about the nation's development, it play a very key agents, because you can see our rural women are basically the deprived from various facilities. They are getting a lots of challenges from the economical developments, maybe environmental aspects. Social changes are also there. So empowering them is a very essential part, and it is a very well-being for each individuals and their families to develop a woman force. Here in India, 80% of the women who are basically staying in the rural areas, and they have been basically depend on the agricultural based activity. So when we are basically talking about the developing of India, even government have also have understood after 75 years of Indian independence that we have to develop our rural parts, and we have to develop our the women force. So that's why government have took the initiative in Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav, and they have been basically talking about the empowering the nations through the empowering the women force. So basic agenda of the government is that they want to focus the women force, and they want to reach to the gender equity, gender balancing by 2030, while empowering the woman. Now, what basically we're talking about women empowerment, basically it is talking about increasing the educational level, economical status, social and gender equality, spiritual and political strength for the individual women. And women empowerments can also be defined for promoting the self-worthiness, and in enhancing their abilities, their choice, their determinations, their rights to take a decisions towards them, towards their family, and towards their society. So basically, when we want empower that woman, we can holistically develop their families, their societies, and the whole countries. Now, what are the basic challenges that rural women are facing is that since we can see our Indians, we are maximum dominated by the main populations, and the family also, the main decisions makers are the main force. So first, we have to give a chance to the women from their home aspects, that they have to take decisions in their family parts, in their children's education, in the children's health, and the family aspects. Second is that which they are not going to basically getting it. Second is that they won't have a freedom to movement. Many cases we don't feel to send our children or the girl childs to the different places for even for the educational purpose. So we won't have a freedoms, or the girls won't have, or the women won't have a freedoms to move from one place to the other place, because maybe the aspect of safety, the family have been so much of bother about them. Next is that access to the educations. Even we rural people, they don't feel that to send the girl child to the school, because they got to know that at last they will not go for the job. So what is the use of the education? Education does not mean that if you have to go and work, it is also mean that to educate your family. If a woman can be educated, they can be also educate their family members. So thing is that we have to find out these are big challenges which are basically the rural women are facing, is that they are not being exposed to the education. Then when they are not going to get the education, definitely their question is coming to the access of employment. They are not going to get the employments. They are not being able to get the employment. They are not being allowed to go for employment. But they've been indulged with lots of skill-based activity, because they will be doing all the household works, and then they will be going to the agricultural field. They will be having their own agricultural field. They will go there. They will be doing a hardcore job. They will be doing lots of agricultural based activity in their home, but they're not being exposed to the employment. Next is that exposures to the media. Okay, how many media people are going to the rural women and asking that what problem they are going to face it off, and what challenges they're going to face, or they're facing it at present. They are not able to go to reach to media. They're not able to express their feelings, to express to anyone. Okay, so the main another one challenge they're facing is that their problem is been within themselves. Nobody is ready to know that what problem exactly they are facing it off. Next is that domestic violence is a big challenges in the today's India. Even we can say in the semi-urban areas, urban areas, most probably the rural areas, we can see that there is a lots of violence in the families. Even they cannot express to anyone. It may be in terms of the family members, and from the family member sides, internal, external violence are going on. Okay, but we are not being very keen to know that what kind of violence is happened with them, what they have been gone through, and they are day by day they are digesting those violence. Okay, and they got to know that it is their fate. Okay, they have to get through those circumstances. So what is going to happen to them, or what is happening to them, they took it as a part of their life. Next is that atrocities on the woman. Sometimes this violence will go to the so extreme that they will be like treat like a wild animals. Okay, even though they have been thrown out of the family, many cases in the health wise they will not even ask. Many cases it has been seen in the rural cases that women are not able to deliver the girl child. Okay, the what kind of cruelty we have been gone through, that they are not being a mother, they cannot deliver their babies, and that kind of challenges they are facing it off, and which is they're getting from their family members. What we can talk about to the society. Next is that the marriage in the same caste and the child marriage. So they have been forced to marry whom the family member have been decided. And if the person is good, bad, or whatever it may be, it should be a same caste of the person is belong to, or even though they will not get a good groom in the near future, that's why the family will be forced the child to get married in a very young age, where they are not ready to get married physically, mentally, and they're not even ready to give a birth of a child, but they have been going through. Next, we have to come to that. If we want to need to empower the woman, and we want a rural development, first and foremost thing what we want is the gender equality. Nowadays, government have been promoting the gender budgeting. It is a very big issue nowadays that people are talking about gender budgeting, where basically we want to balance in the workplace, the men and women workforce. Even we want equal proportionate of the students in our institutions, where there will be a good number of women will be there, as or the girl students also will be there. Next, we want to talk about the wage, where there is a lots of discriminations. Even you can see in the urban areas, the garment industries, people are getting a very less wage as compared with the main force. Even if you go to the rural field, okay, the agricultural land, when the the manpower, they are working it off, where the women's power are getting a very less paid as compared with the men. So first and foremost things is we have to bring the equality between the men and the women. Second is the health aspects, because from the time, if you can see about the rural women, first and foremost things what they are going to face it of that the nutrition factor. There have been lots of the deficits of irons and the healthy other things. Second part of about that, they have been the time of maternity and they are not getting a proper nutrition foods and all. So they, even though they are doing the household works, the field works, everything, but their health is not being taken care properly. So first, another one more thing is that first we have to be a good, then only we can put to the others. So our mother has to be good health person in the house, then he can take care of other family members. So thing is that we have to first take care of our own health, then only we can take care of our family health. So that's why we have to give a priority to the women in the family to take care of their health, and we also have to tell them that please do take care of yourself. Next is that adult education and training. So we have to provide them a good training institute. It is a vocational training institute or the skill-based training institute where they can learn a new activities, new interested, the learning activities where they can do something for their families to earn something extra amount. Next is that vocational skill and the business. We have to provide them the vocational skills. When I have done my PhD, I have been made with various SHGs, which is called the self-help groups. And nowadays, governments are taking lots of good initiatives to provide even the computer training for the rural women. I have been attended various training sessions where the women have been well trained to learn the computer training. Even the girls, when they were in 11th, 12th standards, they are providing the computer training facilities for those girls to get a job in the computer centers or some typing activities and all those things. So skill-based training is very important to provide for the rural women because they are not well educated to go for any managerial jobs and all, but they can take a very good skill-based job. Next is that access to the financial facilities. Even if you go to the rural area, you can find out that many people don't have even bank account, and especially the women, they don't have any bank account. So the thing is that the bank accounts have in the name of family members, that the head of the family members is a contact. That's maybe her husband's name, or maybe her father-in-law's names, okay, or maybe her father's name. So first we have to teach them that what kind of financial facilities she can get it from the bank side or the financial institution side, and how they will utilize those financial supports to empower themselves. Next is that social group and mentorships. We have to form a group of a women where we can train them, we can provide them the financial support, we can motivate them and monitor them to do something for themselves. Because one person will not be so strong. When you can be 10, 20, 30 groups of women, they can be come together and they can develop their own skill and they can take care of themselves. Next, when we talk about the way of empowering women. So can you please change the slide? I think slide is not available actually. Sir, are you available there? Can you change the slide? Thank you. So next, we can talk about that how to empower them, the way of empowering the woman. So first is that change in woman mobility and the social changes. So we have to mobilize them, we have to teach them that they can change themselves, they can change the society. Second is that change in woman access and to control over the resources. So the woman force has to control over the resources, because nowadays what happened is that if you can go to any rural household and you can see that they will be just tell you that I want this, and the main force has to buy for them and give it, and they will tell that this is the items I bought for you, you can cook it. Even they won't have a right to take a decisions to buy the grocery for their home. So what we have done, we have to give a control over the resources. It may be the inside the house, it may be the outside the houses. They should be able to access the resources, and they should understand that how the basically the resources work for them. Next is that changes in the women labor pattern. So what I have talked about the earlier also, that we have to bring the changes in the gender budgeting, and we have to enforce the gender budgeting in every organization, every field, so where that men and women labor has been treated equally. Next is that change in women control and the decision making. It starts from the home itself. They have to be given a power to take decisions in their home, for their children, for their family members. Next is that provide the education facilities to them. Education does not mean that you have to only learn to sign your name. Education is talking about that to be a basic educations to teach your child a good and bad. Next is that providing minimum needs like nutrition, health, sanitizations of houses, sanitizations of for themselves, cleaning the houses. That is also there. We have to tell them. We have to teach them that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't be a hygiene, then what is going to happen to you, your child, and your family? Next is that encouraging women to develop in their field they are good at and make a career. So we have to find out here. Mentor can play a very good role. Even government will be having a block development office where there are women development officers are there who will be basically going to the rural areas and talk to the women and find out that which area they are good at. So what happened that they will be providing the skill to those women based on their preferable areas. Next is that encourage the women to develop in their field. Next is that society should change in mentality towards the word woman. That is the psychological changes we all have to bring it to our mind. That changes is that woman can't do this. Woman can. It is not the woman's job. Okay, so we have to change our mindset. Next is that financial inclusion policies must be normalized so that the women gain better financial identity. Okay, and it must be aimed towards the rural woman having a better access of financial services like a credit sources, okay, then saving services and the insurance policy for the woman, loan facilities for the woman. The question is that I won't have any property in my name. Which bank is going to give me the loan? My property is in my husband's name. How I can access it off the loan facility? Because every bank nowadays want the mortgage loan. Which bank will provide the loan, unsecured loan to the woman, that also in the rural woman, okay, and take the risk in their heads? So first we have to understand that we have to frame our policies for the woman itself, okay, and it is only mentioned for the women that the loan has to be provided to them. And that loan amount, even government also have few of the policies that where they are providing the loan to the, especially the rural women force, but the amount is very nominal. And in that nominal amount, you cannot start any business. Even you cannot start a small grocery shop also in your house. It is maybe 10,000 or 20,000. Now the 10, 20,000, what can we do it of? Okay. Next is that all financial inclusion schemes need to be incorporated, monitoring and evaluating the mechanisms to access the gender outcome to women and in particular to the women belonging to the marginalized and vulnerable section. So what happened that we have to particularly create a scheme for the women to develop themselves. It should be only particularly available to the women and the amount has to be increased and those loans should be protected by the insurance, okay, or the women should have some insurance policy in their names and all. The question is that even insurance companies are also not much focusing on the rural women because they think that they cannot even bear the premium amount. So why should we focus on them? Because we want the profitability. So if everybody will think about the profitability, then we cannot think about our rural development. Next, now in India, there is a lots of women empowerment schemes are there. Basically, what scheme I have talked about, this is all the government scheme. Why I focus on the government scheme? Because I have been observing of that maximum private organizations are focusing on the rural women, providing the funding facilities. It is belonging to the CSR activity. Okay. So since it is the CSR activity, there also they feel that we have to do it for them. That's why we are doing it off. Okay. So it is not the mandatory for them to only focus on the rural women. Even in the CSR activity also, the government will be putting some percentage of the portions we have to make for only the women populations and all, then it may be little bit work out. But nowadays we can see that maximum government took the initiative to empower the women in terms of their developments and all. Now, I have talked about many policies are there. There is a national rural livelihood missions that there are lots of self-help groups are there who are doing tremendous good jobs and all. But I basically focus on those schemes which is covering all the aspects of the women force, where they can basically take care of the women securities, women safeties, time of the domestic violence, how the government can be taking the initiative and all. So I first talk about the scheme which is called the One Stop Center and the universalizations of women helpline. Okay. Basically, this One Stop Center is that it has been launched by the 1st April in 2015, where this has been basically funded by the Nivas fund. Okay. It is there is a in all over India there is a 733 different centers are there in different states who are basically working for that one-stop centers are there, who are basically supporting the women who have been ill-treated by their families, by the societies, or any violence has happened to them and all those things. So basically this one-stop center has been providing support to those women force who have been violence by the society, violence by their family members and all. Okay. Next we have been talking about that Swadhar Griha scheme. This Swadhar Griha scheme is basically talking about the providing the home for those people who have been going through a difficult situations. Now, what happened is that this is a very good scheme, and government have been taking lots of initiative for these other Griha schemes, where the women have been thrown out of the family. Okay, after the violence, sometimes they will be thrown out of the families. They don't know where they have to go and all. So what happened is that these other Griha schemes will be treating those women, providing the free accommodation facilities with the food and clothes and medicines and all that, and they will be providing the rehabilitations to overcome the situations, and then they will provide a lots of counseling facilities. They will be providing the skill development for those women to learn something and start up. Okay, even they will be providing the legal guidance to file the case against the person who have been violated or who have been ill-treated with them. Okay, any family disputes, any legal disputes, they will be providing the assistance to them. Basically, this scheme has been launched in 2002. Next, we will talk about the Ujala schemes. These schemes, I think all of you almost know about that. Basically, it is like a smoke-free rural India schemes, where the LPG gas connection has been given to the rural households, especially the woman member of the family. Okay, and here This scheme has been launched by Pradhan Mantri in 2016, and it has been a very successful scheme. And lots of people have been got the facilities from that, and they have been targeted in the next 3 years. They have to do it off. And 2019, they have been achieved a good number of the LPG connections have been provided to the rural women. Basically, it has been providing for because the what the wood fire smokes was coming while cooking time and all. It was to create lots of lungs infections for the women, and they used to get lots of health problem. So these to avoid those health issues faced by the women, and to provide the good health conditions on to cook fast and stop air pollutions and all, government have been launched this Ujala scheme. Next is that working women hostels. This scheme has been coming long back only in 1972-73. The scheme has come with the infrastructure of providing the building facilities for the women workforce. If they are staying, working in a different places and all those things, they can avoid to stay in a rented house and all. They can stay in a hostel with lots of safety and security. I have took these schemes to explain you people because I have talked about that access to the employability. So if you can go outside your rural areas, you can avail these hostel facilities. Okay, and one more advantage is that if the married woman is availing these hostel facilities and all, if the woman have a girl child of 18 years of age, she can get the benefits to take her child with herself, and she can stay there. But in case of the boy child, it is up to the 5 years of age, they can get the accommodation facilities with their working mothers. Okay, basically nowadays many training institutions are also providing the hostel facilities for the women to stay there with their child and get the training facilities. Even I have seen that under National Rural Livelihood Missions, many SHG was staying in a working women hostels with their child and was taking training, getting the training for stitching or pickle making or many handicraft training. Okay. Next scheme is talking about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This scheme is basically talking about to protect the girl child in various states in India. This scheme has basically come and it has been first targeted to few states like UP, Uttarakhand, Haryana, Punjab, Bihar, and Delhi, where we can see that a large number of women, girl fetus have been killed in the time of the sex determinations, in the time of the pregnancy and all. So to stop that, it has been strictly restricted now that you cannot find out the gender at the time of your pregnancy ultrasounds. At the same time is that we have to educate the girl child, and that's why Modi have been launched this scheme in 22nd Jan 2015, that Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, where we have to stop killing the girl childs and we have to promote the girls' education. Next, we will talk about the Mahila Shakti Kendra. This scheme was not very successful, but government took a very good initiative. This scheme has been closed in 2022, the last year. Okay, because it was not been very grand success of that, but the scheme's agenda was very good. Okay, because this scheme was basically focusing on the northeast part of India, where they were basically targeting for the very weaker district. They will be targeting for those districts where the employment is very less. Okay, the education's level of the women are very less and all, where they have been developed the Mahila Shakti Kendras, and they used to be promoting the girls' safety, girls' educations, girls' employment and all. But since it has been not been good care by those districts and all, they have been recently stopped it. And one more unsuccessful for this scheme is that in this scheme is talking about that it is a central state proportionate was there. So in this scheme, if it is a 60% central government is to propose sponsor the cost, and 40% state government used to sponsor. Where it has been seen the state government was not taking much initiative to do it off, and the areas where states are not very strong and all those cases, it was a 90-10. So 90% was sponsoring by the central government and 10% was sponsoring by the state government. Since state government funding was not adequate, the scheme has not been worked out well. And for union territory, it was 100% sponsored by the central government. Okay. Next is that Pradhan Mantri Matru Bandhana Yojana. This scheme was already there. In Indira Gandhi, in the name of that, this scheme was been basically the name of like Indira Gandhi Matri Baba Sahayog Yojana in 2010, which has now renamed by in 2017. Basically, it is talking about the wage compensations and the time of maternity. So many workers are not working at the time of maternity, and even though they are leaving the small child at a home, and within 1 month of their delivery, they used to go for the work, because if they don't earn, the family can't run. Okay, so this scheme is basically talking about the providing the wage compensations for the women at the time of their maternity leaves. The government is to provide on an average 6,000 compensations for the their wages. Next, so we have been talking about the various schemes here. So, and we can got to know that government have been maximum took the initiatives to empower the women. Even at the present, government is really working well and taking lots of initiatives to empowering the women to develop the rural Indias. Even for the urban women also, governments are taking lots of initiatives. So wholesome, the development is going on. It is not a very good progress, but it is not very bad also. So what we can conclude it off here, that women are already strong. It's about to change the way the world perceives that strength. So don't think that women are the very weaker sections, or they are very weak. They already are strong. Only thing is that we have to change our perceptions to see them. Next, what Michael Obama also said, that there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. So if the women can come forward to take our initiatives, we can't stop them. Okay, it is a very perfect words I can feel, because we can play a very different role as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, and everywhere. We cannot tell that we have been failed to our duties. So why not we took an initiative for our families to earn for them? Even we are earning, but we have not been recognized. We have not been recognized by our family. We have not been recognized by our society. We have not been recognized by our soulmate. It is only the question of the recognitions. If you recognize, and we can bring the change at our home, we can really empower the woman. So empowerment is in a mind thought, empowering the woman by heart and by mind. So automatically woman can be empowered. You treat your mother well, you treat your daughter well, you treat your sister well, you treat your society woman a well way, then automatically we are empowering the woman. I have bought some more success stories of that. We can see that we failure success story like Richard Papper. See, she haven't started, she borrowed 80 rupees and she started her business in 1959. Today, her turnover is 300 crores. This is not a less amount. And she herself employed so many ladies. If we can go to the Gujarat, if you can go to various rural areas, and Papad business is one of the strongest skill-based business the women are running it off. Now, one more thing is that we can talk about Anita Devi, who is basically doing a mushroom lady, who is called as a mushroom lady in a Bihar and all. Okay, she have created lots of self-help groups. So many NGOs have come to her. So many self-help groups. She is running it off. She's supporting them to empowering them. Today she is doing a very good job. Actually, government was providing the mushroom seeds, and then they started doing the mushroom business and all. And in the rural part, it is a very good business. Another one is that Nilaben, okay, who is belonging from the village of Nagana, which is district of Banaskunta, okay, who is basically taking care of the milk. Okay, now if I'm talking about her, you can see, you can just go through it, you can just see her profile and all those things. Okay, today her selling milk turnover is 1 crore 10 lakhs. In 2020, I'm talking about. And Corona cannot affect this one. Milk, everyone of us want. Okay, these all business will not been affected by Corona. Big industry might be affected, but you can see that they are smoothly running their business and all. Even if you can see the Amul have been promoting the Gujarat women's. Even in Bangalore, we have Nandini. I have gone to various NSS camp and all those things I have seen. In the rural women are coming morning and evening, they are selling the milks to the booth, the milk booth, and they're earning money and they're going it off. So we can start think about this also, and we can start empowering women from our home. So if our women folks are selling some items, let them enjoy the money, let them spend the money by their own way. Okay. Thank you so much. Hope you all have been enlightened by this women empowerment concepts. Any questions, any of one of you have, let me know.
All the participants are requested to unmute themselves and try to discuss with the madam on the topic of the rural women empowerment.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Dr. Shwagat here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ma'am, I'm working with the tribal areas since last 20 years. And the basic problem is, no doubt, number of schemes and number of governmental programs are there. But the thing is, what is required is social engineering. And especially what we can say, if you want to really empower the woman, we have to consider their socio-cultural perspectives, and we have to correct them. That is a basic thing. Because many of the times, the schemes are there, but they are not utilizing it because their socio-cultural aspects are not, allowing them to utilize it. I've seen, we had done a survey of 3,000 people near about, and the girls especially, they are leaving their education before 10th only, and they are getting married, soon after that. So this is how the tribal areas population is doing. The rural population is there. We can say semi-rural, semi-urban population is there, but the tribal areas population, what I feel, the schemes are not, enough. But what I feel that, in the field of health, we are having Asha Anganwadis. These people should have some kind of discussion forums, because we had one discussion, group discussion, Gata Charcha, what we call it as, and we were sitting with 10 to 15 female of that particular tribal area. And mind you, it is very difficult to communicate with them also. But somehow we open the subject, and then, we are talking about alcohol in the country, liquor, Mohachi Daru is very common over there. And we started talking about how the husbands are, means it is the culture only, everyone drinks. So I started asking one by one. So someone said he drinks outside only. Someone said he drinks only inside, but he never beats me. And one of the ladies said कि मुझे वो मार, मेरा husband मुझे मारता है. जो वाली lady ने answer दिया, तो नहीं मारता. So it is accepted fact for that particular tribal area.
Sir, I told this point because they have thought that it is their fate.
Yeah, it is their fate.
It's part of their life actually.
Yeah, so what is the main required, we are going over this not enough, because unless and until a kind of a transformation, unless and until a kind of a, change on the cultural aspect, we have to change. We can't see no doubt there, absolutely, it is not a universal fact, but some of the girls, they really build themselves, they fight against the all systems and customs, and they do all the things, and then they somehow they become educated, but not, it is not good for everyone. So between these two, thank you, madam.
What I also felt, sir, with the reference to your talk, I thought this Anganwadi teachers also took little initiative. The teaching fraternity has to take little initiative, because I made so many SAGs where the girls have been past 10th standard, but they know only to write their name. And they're talking that we are literate, we're 10 pass. I don't know who wrote your exam. My brother wrote, my sister wrote, somebody wrote the paper and all. So I think that to empowering women educations, to empowering the women, the part of educations, teacher also should be little initiative, especially in the case of primary school teacher, Anganwadi teachers. You come to school, I'll provide you the food. The sake of food, they're coming in, they're eating the food, they're playing and they're going. They're not learning anything. But some initiative, instead of that, why not put it to their level?
Yeah, we have to go to their level, and what I have learned, in the schools, they are really doing very well. And as a female from the tribal or rural area, they are very strong. The husband is drunkard, so they are doing household work. They are going in the field. They are bringing the income also. They are, so they are, taking care of the children also. And most of the work they are doing, 80% work they are doing. So otherwise they are very strong. Only the thing is, we have to think, we have to change their thinking pattern and their cultural and social aspects. That is what I think basically it is required. The government should pay attention to this rather than just giving schemes. It will not work, adequately.
Sir, and
thank you, madam.
Your reference I'm telling, it is very difficult to change their psychological pattern. Even I have worked on that.
Yeah, definitely.
They have been so rigid in their psychological thought process. They're not ready to accept the changes. Actually, many cases,
even the females are also the same thing, because they're having the same. They have seen generation after generation the same pattern, and they are accepting it is amchat asच असतं. That kind of feeling, they are having. So this has to be dissolved. This has to be dissolved. Then only I think we can really reach to them.
Yeah, it is true, sir. I'm accepted with your opinion.
Thank you, madam.
Someone have raised the hand.
Namaste, madam.
Jayveer sir.
Namaste, madam.
Can you speak?
मैडम, मेरा एक सवाल है.
Can you listen Hindi or understand Hindi, madam?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Please continue, Jayveer sir.
मैडम, आपने दो पॉइंट पे बात करूंगा मैं, एक फ्रीडम और एक वायलेंस. आज के समय में मैं इनसे सहमत नहीं हूं, क्योंकि मैं पश्चिम उत्तर प्रदेश से आता हूं, हरियाणा से भी आता हूं, थोड़ा हरियाणा बाउंड्री से मेरा लगा गांव है, दिल्ली मेरा क्षेत्र है NCR. तो यहाँ पर जो मैं महिलाओं को देखता हूँ, मेरा काफी बड़ा गांव है, 25-30 हजार की आबादी का गांव है. अगर मैं अपने गांव को बारीकी से देखूं तो जो महिलाएं हैं, मतलब मेरे यहाँ लड़कियों को तो थोड़ी पाबंदी है गुंडागर्दी के उससे कि अकेली को जाने नहीं देते, लेकिन जो महिलाएं हैं, जब शादी हो जाती है बेटी की भी, उसको पूरी आजादी है, वो जा सकती है और कोई भी कार्य कर सकती है, उस पर प्रतिबंध नहीं है, पढ़ाती है, सब चीजें. लेकिन महिला और महिलाएं यानी सास और बहू, इनमें तालमेल कहीं नजर नहीं आता वहां पर. मतलब जैसे मैं कई पीढ़ी की बात करूं, मेरे पिताजी हर 3 भाई है, वो आज भी मतलब एक बड़े चले गए 2 साल पहले, एक ही होका, हमारे यहाँ होका परंपरा है, 4 पाई डले बीच में होका रहेगी. तो हमारे छोटे चाचा टीचर है, तो उसके रिटायर है, तो उसके पास ही सब आज तक हम पैदा हुए जब से देखते हैं. अब हम 10 भाई हैं, उनको हम भी एक ही साथ सब सलाह मशवरा करते हैं, और जितने हमारे बच्चे हैं वो भी हमारी ही तरह चलते हैं. लेकिन जो हमारी महिलाएं हैं, हमारी माँ थी, वो भी अलग अलग रही हैं। हमारी जो अब पत्नियां हैं वो भी, उनका भी तालमेल आपस में नहीं है। हमारी माँ के साथ बहू का तालमेल नहीं है। तो ये कहीं ना कहीं सशक्तिकरण को बहुत पीछे ले जा रहा है। मैं ये मानता हूँ कि जब तक ये आपसी द्वेष दूर नहीं होगा तब तक पूरी आजादी, पूरी सशक्तिकरण महिला नहीं हो सकती। और ये मैं 2 स्टेट की बात कर सकता हूँ, हरियाणा की। हरियाणा में मेरी बहुत सारी रिश्तेदारी है। मेरा पूरा परिवार, कुनबा 450 परिवार घर का है। तो मैं बहुत बारीकी से कि अगर दहेज की बात करें तो 95% दहेज झूठे होते हैं, उसमें सास को भी लपेट दिया जाता है। लेकिन सास अगर चाहे तो कुछ भी दहेज मांगा जा सकता है। तो कहीं ना कहीं औरतों में ही मैं कमी, ये कमी तो नहीं, मतलब तालमेल की कमी मैं देखता हूँ। तो आपका क्या नजरिया है? क्या मेरी बात सही?
Sir, actually,
This is the social issue.
yeah,
Sir, please try to answer to resource person.
actually what happened, आपने जो पॉइंट को बोला, ये पॉइंट रियली एक सोशल इशू ही है। लेकिन मैं एक चीज बोलना चाहती हूँ कि ये शायद बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट नहीं करता है वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट में। ये एक मे बी आप अगर मैं होलसम 100% में पकड़ती हूँ तो ये सिर्फ 5% कंट्रीब्यूशन है। ठीक है, ये सास बहू का जो फैक्टर आपने जो बोला कि आप एक दूसरे के तालमेल नहीं होता है, इसमें ये कोई एजुकेशन के ऊपर इफेक्ट नहीं कर सकता, ये एम्पावरमेंट मतलब एम्प्लॉयमेंट के ऊपर इफेक्ट नहीं कर सकता। अगर सास बहू झगड़ा किया तो बहू को जॉब में जाने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, उनको घर चलाने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, उनको अपना डिसीजन लेने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है। तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि ये कोई वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के ऊपर बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट डालता है। वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के ऊपर जो इम्पैक्ट डालता है वो है कि मैं एक बच्चे को अच्छे से पढ़ाई नहीं हूँ, मैं अपना बेटे को इंजीनियर बनाया, अरे बेटी को तो शादी ही करा देंगे, उसको पढ़ा के क्या ही बात कर लेंगे, आखिर में तो उसको शादी ही करना है। तो मैं ये सोच के बारे में बोल रही हूँ, अगर वो शादी करके सास के पास जाके झगड़ा कर रहा है उसमें उसका एम्पावरमेंट में कुछ बड़ा इफेक्ट नहीं होगा। लेकिन हाँ, एक सोशल एक फैमिली फैक्टर्स है, इसमें शायद प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है। देखिए, दहेज एक बहुत बड़ा रीजन है इंडिया में फैमिली वायलेंस के लिए, ये सब मानते हैं। ठीक है, और हम लोग बेटी के साथ जैसे ट्रीट करते हैं बहू के साथ हम लोग वैसे ट्रीट नहीं करते, क्योंकि बहू बेटी नहीं होती है, सास माँ नहीं होता है। ये सब साइकोलॉजिकल थॉट प्रोसेस है जिससे उभरना इमीडिएटली इंडियन कल्चर के लिए इमीडिएटली पॉसिबल नहीं है। इसको साथ लेके कैसे हम लोग वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट कर सकते हैं, कैसे हम लोग अपना सोच में बदल ला सकते हैं, ये सबसे बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। ये चेंजेस हम लोग का थॉट प्रोसेस में होना चाहिए। ठीक है, आपने बोला हम लोग भाई भाई इकट्ठे, आप लोग भाई भाई एक ही फैमिली से बिलोंग करते हैं, लेकिन सास और बहू एक ही फैमिली से बिलोंग नहीं करते। प्रॉब्लम होता है कि जब कोई दूसरे फैमिली कल्चर से अलग फैमिली कल्चर में आता है, प्रॉब्लम होता है कि एडजस्टमेंट का प्रॉब्लम वहां पे होता है कि वो एक जो 25 साल में जिस फैमिली में रह के अचानक से शादी करके घर में आके उस फैमिली को जो एक्सेप्ट करना, उसका कल्चर को अडॉप्ट करना। आप बोल रहे कि मैं भाई के साथ इकट्ठे रही हूँ, आप भाई के साथ पैदा होके इकट्ठे रह चुके हैं, लेकिन आपकी बहू आपके वाइफ के साथ पैदा से इकट्ठे नहीं है। आपके बेटी के साथ आपकी बहू का झगड़ा नहीं हो रहा क्योंकि दे हैव बिलोंगिंग टू सेम मेंटालिटी, लेकिन आपकी बहू और आपकी वाइफ में सेम मेंटालिटी नहीं है क्योंकि दोनों अलग जगह से बिलोंग करता है। तो ये टोटली डिफरेंट इशू मेरे को लग रहा है। इसमें वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट में बहुत तरह मुझे नहीं लग रहा है। वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट होलसम मुझे लग रहा है ये थोड़ा डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स है। ठीक है, अगर आप फ्रीली आपकी बहू को जॉब में जाने देते हैं, ठीक है, बहू भी जाए, सास भी जाए, सब जाए, ठीक है, सब लोग पढ़ाई करें, सबको पूरा फ्रीडम है, तो मुझे लगता है कि दैट इज कॉल्ड वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट।
ठीक है आपकी बात, लेकिन उसे जैसे पढ़ी लिखी बहू है, सास थोड़ा सपोर्ट करते हैं तो वहाँ सपोर्ट समर्थन नहीं मिल पाता। तो इसीलिए जो उसकी बहू है वो जॉब कहीं ना कहीं रुक जाती है कि वो अपने बच्चों में उलझ के रह जाती है। अगर आपस में इनका तालमेल हो तो सपोर्ट मिले तो तब ज्यादा आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। लेकिन ये चीजें मैंने देखी है कि बहुत घर में क्या होता है, लड़की मतलब बहू की माँ ही घर पे आ जाती है, सास का समर्थन नहीं मिल पाता। तो ये तो कहीं ना कहीं उस पर प्रभाव डालता है, वो अलग हो जाती है, फिर वो वहीं पर अपने बच्चों में उलझ के रह जाती है और इसीलिए पुरुष आगे बढ़ता चले जाता है, क्योंकि पीछे पत्नी है, बीवी है, वो संभाल ही लेती है, क्योंकि पुरुष आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है। तो ये तो कहीं ना कहीं सोशल ठीक है इशू है, लेकिन
तो
कहीं ना कहीं
सर तो क्यों ना पुरुष ही बोले जी ठीक है तुम भी आगे बढ़ो मैं भी आगे बढ़ूं, चलो हम लोग दोनों इकट्ठे इस काम में जाते हैं।
बढ़ ही रहे हैं, आज की जनरेशन में तो बढ़ा है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ी सी कमी यही रह जाती है बच्चे संभालने वाली बात। जो माँ संभालती है वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं कमजोरी पड़ ही जाती है मैडम। कि पुरुष तो, अब मैं अपनी बताऊं, मेरे यहाँ पर पूरी आजादी है, पर्दा प्रथा है, वहां पर मैंने पर्दा प्रथा भी मेरे घर में अब नहीं है। आर्य समाज से बिलोंग करते हैं, आर्य समाज वैसे पर्दा प्रथा के खिलाफ है, लेकिन पूरे उसमें पर्दा प्रथा है मेरे यहाँ पर। लेकिन अब धीरे धीरे वो समाप्त हो रही है, देख हम देख वो चीजें तो आ रही है हमारे टाइम में। अब मेरे यहाँ भ्रूण का जो ये थी जेंडर, ये अब पूरे भारत में फैल रही है, मेरे यहाँ बल्कि समाप्त हो रही है। मेरे जितने बहुत सारे दोस्त हैं उनको दो दो बेटियां हैं, किसी ने कभी नहीं किया। तो परिवर्तन तो आ रहा है वहां पर काफी, लेकिन ये कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ आ जाती है कि जो आदमी की जो पावर होती है कि कमी होती है, जो परिवार अलग हो जाते हैं तो वहाँ व्यक्तियों की कमी तो हुई जाती है। अब किसान क्षेत्र है तो कहीं ना कहीं उलझ के महिला उसी में रह जाती है, ये मैंने देखा।
थैंक यू
धन्यवाद
सर, थैंक यू। शांता गीते मैडम, निरुपमा भटनागर मैडम, बोलिए।
जी मैम, मेरा इसी बात पे बोलना चाहती थी। अभी जो सर ने बात की, आपने बोला कि एम्पावरमेंट के लिए ये ज्यादा मायने नहीं रखता, पर मैं सर की बात से पूरी तरह सहमत हूँ, क्योंकि इन्होंने जो बताया, मैं खुद आजमा रहा हूँ। मैं एक प्राध्यापक हूँ, लेक्चरर हूँ, तो मुझे पता है कि मेरे घर में अगर मेरी सास मेरे साथ नहीं होती तो आज मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर सकती थी। तो ये दो जो रिश्ते हैं सास और बहू के, अगर ये दोनों एक हो जाए, इनके मैत्री जैसे संबंध हो जाए, तो महिला के सक्षमीकरण के लिए ये बहुत फायदेमंद होगा। क्योंकि जब तक बहू सास को नहीं समझेगी तब तक सास भी बहू को नहीं समझेगी। और मैं खुद जानती हूँ कि अगर मुझे नौकरी को जाना है तो पूरा घर किसी के ऊपर डिपेंड करके जाना पड़ता है, और उस वक्त अगर सास आपका साथ देती है तो वो हर प्रगति कर सकती है, हर डेवलपमेंट कर सकती है। इसलिए सास की भी सोच बदलनी चाहिए, और उससे बड़े बहू की तो ज्यादा बदलनी चाहिए, क्योंकि वो पढ़ी लिखी है, उसने आगे की आधुनिक की शिक्षा ली है, और समझना चाहिए कि अपनी माँ भी ऐसी है। अगर ये सोचेगी तो उसकी डेवलपमेंट वो खुद कर सकती है। तो जो अभी सर ने बात रखी है, उससे मैं पूरी तरह सहमत हूँ, क्योंकि ये एक्सपीरियंस मैंने खुद लिया है।
निरुपमा भटनागर मैडम, आप बोलना चाहती है तो बोलिए। आप अनम्यूट होइए, आप अनम्यूट होइए मैडम, आप अनम्यूट अनम्यूट प्लीज।
I was teaching in the Department of Extension and Communication at MS University, Baroda. Now, my experience while I was teaching there was the government plans that were made. I felt that the grassroots level was not really understood or not taken into consideration. The planners were at the top, and the grassroots or requirement or the grassroots areas that were there, if you see the geography, that was different. So they had to be planned in accordance. That I found a lot of I wouldn't say synchronization between the two. So I'm talking about like I was, I had taken quite a bit of IRDP and all these programs. Now, when my experience was, when we went, I took my students to the field. Most of the villagers were not even aware about it, and the village itself was divided into different areas. There was like a community which was rich. So those people who were rich, the Sarpanch and the other people were from that community, or they were, the connect with those people were there. But then the poorer people were really, if you see the village dynamics, the people who really required it, the program didn't reach to them. And the thing is, another part that I felt, even if you try to train them in certain skill development activities, the economic viability wasn't there. In terms of where do I sell my product? Even if I train them, or even if I try to find them market, I was like, I had a bunch of students who were working for certain amount of time. But after that, what? So those ladies were what? Lost. The economic viability, the market was never kind of thought about in mind when they are planning these programs. And that I feel is a very, very strong reason why these empowerment programs are not working. They might be working, but not to that. Success of it is not to that a great extent. Or I would still feel that the people who are taking or who are being the target groups are the ones who are already benefited, and the real target group areas are not being reached out. That's my, I don't know, you've been a person, so I would like to understand what has been your experience. I want to say in regard to that, now government are taking lots of initiative to provide the marketing support for the self-help groups to the rural area, where they're conducting the various sessional melas are there, trade fairs are there, where they're inviting those self-help groups to come and do the exhibitions for their products and all. But yeah, point is correct what you have told to me. That is not in a very large sum. Okay, some cases it has been seen that government are taking an initiative in the district level where they are providing the tender for those self-help groups to supply the goods to the various government bodies, because some people are manufacturing sanitary napkins, so they're giving a connectivity to the government hospitals and all those things. And even in the in India, the various different states, trade fair will be there, like in the different states. So interstates participants are also there to expose their products and all. Okay, because some Kashmiri people should be coming it off. Okay, with their the arts and cultures. Even West Bengal people will go with their cotton products. Even Tamil Nadu people will be coming. So various Gujarati will come with their handicraft works and all those things. So it is happening it off. But yeah, point to be noted that it is not in a large group members are not being benefited to that. And the second point is that it should be like maybe 20% support what government is giving, which is not an adequate one. It's supposed to be reached to the 80% of level. Then they will be getting a motivated and all. For example, many people are manufacturing the far teddy bears and all those things, where they are going to sell it off, because everybody is running behind the branded products and all those things. So there we have to really work out. Can you please unmute, ma'am? In one of the villages in Gujarat, I had taken up a project where now IRDP people decided about the target group people, and they kind of came and they gave it ki input candle making ki aap skill development karate hain. Now somehow I felt at that point of time also economic viability kya thi uski mujhe zyada matlab, if you teach them designer candles, then it makes sense. People are there to buy. The ready market is available. Or scented candles. But those white candles, no more those long candles. और वो जो सांचा उनको दिया, after matlab they made, those are really poor people. So it was like a limited amount that was being funded. And after that, they left it. कि Ben कोई लेता तो है नहीं, कोई नहीं खरीदता. And I felt that same thing. And I did went to the people ahead. I did talk to the people in the IIT, but it didn't really work out. The bureaucracy and all those things really puts you off. So somewhere those connects never work out. I personally felt that. This has been my personal experience. And secondly, I felt that designing inputs for everything is very important. Because I worked with Dastakar, it's an NGO in Delhi. Now, the same thing, working with the artisans. Now, artisans are there, but then those artisans were getting, they don't have that sense. If they really had that color or design sense, they would have been a so-called design artist, well-known artist. Now, these people have to be given some kind of inputs in terms of design, color, how it should be. So those, because the NGO gave them those design inputs, the artisans are doing well, their products have been selling, they've got international platforms to sell their products, they are kind of going and attending those bazaars which are being organized. So these groups are being benefited. But here, what I feel the biggest loss in the government policy is that they don't think about it. The bureaucrats are the planners, and the grassroots are never understood. What the requirement of the grassroots is never understood by the people. So grassroots probably might depend on the geography of that area. The geography might not require that thing, and still those things are being taken into account. So that is the biggest flaw I find in the whole system. And that really hampers the development of women empowerment, everything. You can't empower them. You might talk about it a lot, but then until and unless, and when it comes to the money, the men always came forward. So, and the women never had that confidence that yes, I can do it. So until and unless those barriers are broken or cut, I feel it cannot work out to that extent. Everybody should come forward. Yeah, the women should come forward. The system should come forward. They should understand the real problem, what they are facing it off. Even actually, I can tell that NGOs are doing very good job in that. Actually, they can first reach to the I've seen it. I have done various survey in West Bengal and all those things. I've seen that really NGOs are really understanding the problem, what they are facing it off. But what happened that again the barrier is coming that they are not able to put forward those problems to the higher ups. Everybody's hands have been tied. And another thing is the NGOs also they have been benefited. Like they have created their silos in terms of the target group. They have created their own groups, the clusters. These people are good. So every time, what I feel, once this group has been given the privilege, next time another group should be taken into, and they should be prepared. Once they are on their own, second group should be prepared. Second group should be, then it is real empowerment that is happening of the people. It doesn't happen in the NGOs also. It is only a selected group of people which will always be taken into account, which will always be selected, which will always be taken and showcased in the international market or the Indian market, and that's it. They always get the Baba, you're doing a great job. But then it's the selected people who are getting.
Madam, what I feel, even NGOs, when I talk about NGOs, they're going over there, they're taking photographs, and they're not becoming a part of that community. Unless and until people who will become a part and try to transform their lives, how much NGOs, NGOs will offer them some jobs or some craft work they can. can promote, or some they can provide approach. That is how the NGOs are really working. So why is someone should stay reside over there in that community and understand the community, the all values, the cultural values, the customs, the traditions, and then how to change it. It is a really subject of PhD. And we had worked that way. So NGOs are just a supporter to some extent, what I personally. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone can discuss, or we will go toward the conclusion. Prashant Ugade, sir.
Now nobody is there. Nobody is there, sir.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
now I request to you, sir. Please
Okay.
come with few words.
Okay.
I request Honorable Principal, sir.
Thank you, Prashant, sir. This is the part of our world record webinar series, and today we have listened the speech on women's empowerment toward the rural development. Dr. Susmita Sarkar, madam, which is assistant professor from Jyoti Nivas College, Autonomous, Bangalore. She contributed her thoughts on this important issue. She shared her experience of NSS and all the research experience she have explained here. The examples which she have quoted here were very useful, and the topic which supports to our webinar series theme and discussion of other women with her madam, that was very fruitful one. So she explained the financial problems, marriage problems, also the family background problems, government schemes which are allowed to the women but which are not reachable to them. So all the aspects are useful and supportive to her topic, women's empowerment. She also concluded that there should be, everyone should be take care of this and should involve for the women empowerment at the ruler. Everyone should take them ahead. Thank you, madam, for spending here your precious time and joining here with your thoughts. In future also, you are welcome for this webinar on new topic. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Just wait for formal vote of thanks.
Formal thanks. Thank you, sir. Myself, Prashant Ugade, I am here for a formal vote of thanks. So today's topic in World Record Series 2, that is women empowerment towards rural development. And the topic shall presented by Honorable Keynote Speaker, Dr. Susmita Sarkar Madam. She presented very nicely, highlighting upon the different aspects. So I am very, very thankful to you, madam, because women empowerment means being given equal rights to female in their lives, freedom of decision makings, educations, employment, not only in our society and workplace, but also in our family and home. So, madam have shared different views on the topics. Madam also talked about the women empowerment, different schemes in India, also different ways to how to empower the women, and also some legal guidance, counselings, different facilities about the women empowerment. So ma'am have said wonderful thoughts. So I'm very thankful to you, madam. Secondly, I would like to thank Honorable Principal, sir, who is the chairperson of this series, because sir also have shared some views. So I'm very thankful to you, sir. And the participants, those who are always join regularly and active participants in discussion sessions, Dr. Swanand Shukla, sir, Jaivir Singh, sir, Nirupava ma'am also have shared her thoughts. So I'm very, very thankful to you, madam. And lastly, I should not forget all the participants, those who regularly present over here attentively. So I'm very, very thankful to you all. Ma'am have spared your time. So I'm very, very thankful, madam, again. So I you all, please fill the feedback link given in the chat box. Everyone should fill the feedback links. So thank you very much. With the permission of Honorable Principal Sir, today's session is over here. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prashant sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Please join regularly.